So now that we've jumped into the website here, whenever we first hit the website, it looks like there is a freebie. And what is that?
Yep.
What is that freebie, Corey?
Yeah, so it's just a free skip trace. It gives you the ability to test out our services before actually signing up.
So when people hit the website, they can do a free search and find someone's phone number, and for the purposes of calling that person and trying to see if they can buy that property from that person or the heir or whoever. So that's just a freebie that you give out for hitting the website, just so that people can say, hey, here's the data that's available. You can test it against other data services. And, so when you hop on the website, if you can scroll down, there's going to be information about the services, locating the heir, LLC lookup. That's something that people don't really talk about, is finding the owner of an LLC. And if you've got a cash buyer that is looking to buy a property from you, you can look up that LLC on the website and find that person's phone number in order to sell that property to them, wholesale that contract. And so if you scroll down, there's just going to be a list of services provided. And then if we jump into the back side, whenever you log in, it's very simple to use. I've been using this service for about 6 months now, and that's how Corey and I initially got connected. And so when you hop on the site, you just click Find Owner Number, and let's just kind of type in, you can type in someone's last name here, someone that you may be trying to look up. So here's a property that we can just look up the person's phone number. And you type in the information, and then over here on the right-hand side, it's going to spit out, as you can see, all their information, who their relatives are. And so it's a pretty simple service. It's hooked up with an API. Corey, so what does that mean when it's hooked up with an API? How quick does that information come back?
Yeah, so, I mean, depending on, your internet speed, of course, and your computer, but it's a direct pipeline into the actual data services that we are in contract with. And so it happens relatively quick. I've seen it come back within 10 to 20 seconds. And I think that's pretty quick. Another great feature, I think, and Spencer, you'll probably talk about this in a second, is the portal. It's your portal. You're not sharing it with anybody. It has your name at the top. It has all of your searches that you've done with us. And so if you want to go back and maybe retarget a house that you hit 2 or 3 months ago, you can just go in there and hit Control F and type in that address, and you can find the owner's phone number and try to call them again. So it saves all that information, which is really, really important.
So when you have someone's phone number that pops up here, it looks like there's someone has, it looks like 15 or 10 phone numbers and 4 or 5 emails. What's your strategy with that whenever you have that many phone numbers? Are you just saying, hey, Mrs. Faulkner, I'm interested in buying your property at on Rains Avenue. If you don't get that person on the phone, maybe you're trying to find a relative. So is that how is that conversation going with that person? What are you saying to that person on the phone to kind of your script, so to speak, when you're talking with that person?
Yeah, typically I'll try to use the approach of front-end verification. So I usually, call them by their last name, sir, Mr. or Mrs. Try to come off as extremely polite and just say, hey, I'm sorry for the randomness of this call out of the blue, but I'm interested to see if you still own a property at, 123 Main Street. And based on their response is how, we move forward. If they say yes, why are you calling? Then we can kind of get into, well, I'm actually looking to, purchase another house in that area, or I'm looking for some additional work, actually work on houses and repair them as part of my business. And so there's a couple of different avenues, a lot of people have different scripts. But yeah, that's
we like
exactly
to take
so.
a very simple approach and just say, hey, are you interested in selling that property?
Mhm.
We're trying to get in touch with the owner. Are they interested? Do you know if they're interested in selling the property? And that just cuts right to the chase. I think a lot of times people they try to beat around the bush on why they're calling, and if you just jump to it, I think a lot of times people appreciate that versus kind of keeping them on the phone for a long time and not really getting to the point.
Exactly, and Spencer, and that's something you have much more experience with. And so, like I said, I'm not giving advice on scripts or what to say, but
I've talked to thousands and thousands of people about buying their property, and so that's just a rhythm of it really just is a speed thing. If you want to get through, the more people you want to get through, you just got to get straight to the point a lot of times, and people appreciate that.
Exactly.
And they may be more firm or maybe kind of more in your face about it, but you're going to cut through a lot of that bull, I think, whenever you're getting right to the point. So, and then there's also along with the single skip trace option, there's also an option to do what's called, I know earlier you mentioned batch skip tracing or bulk skip tracing. For people who don't know what a batch skip trace or a bulk skip trace, what would that look like?
Yeah, so if there's several sites out there that you can pull data from different counties and cities around the country, and you might want to pinpoint an absentee owner with 40% equity in their house, and they bought their house over 10 years ago. So it kind of gives them a little bit of time to get tired of it, maybe experience a bad renter or two. And so what you can do is, let's say like in a city like Lubbock, let's say I pulled all the absentee owners, would get about a 4,000 person list.
So you got 4,000 addresses with first name, last name, their mailing address or their property address. And now you're trying to get your message in front of these people.
Absolutely.
And so this almost Costco-sized list of people, and now you're saying, okay, what does American Tracers do with that data, and what can they do with it?
Sure. So we'll slide that over to our database. They'll run it through their system. So we're looking at first name, last name, mailing address, the city, state, and zip code. And what we get back is a list of phone numbers and current addresses for that property. So it gives you multiple angles to contact that owner, whether it's a mail out, whether you get a phone number. We're also going to tell you if it's a cell phone or a residential landline, in case you want to shoot them a text message. A lot of people at work these days aren't answering their phone from unknown callers. And so a lot of people are now
these phone numbers in bulk, sometimes within 24 hours of requesting it from American Tracers. You can get a list of 4,000 phone numbers, and maybe you plug it into your texting service, or maybe you're plugging it into your cold calling service. And now you can pass. Now you can pass that if you've got a team of people. Now you can pass that list off to your team, and now they're the ones making the calls. Is that kind of the idea behind
absolutely
the batch
absolutely
service?
Yeah, you just get a ton of data, and once you get that data back, that's your data forever. So cataloging that and sticking it away, and you might hit the same list a year down the road, right, or 6 months down the road. So that's pretty much
as opposed to direct mail, when you're paying, the cheapest that I've got direct mail for postcards is 32 cents a record, and you send that out once, and you never get that 32 cents back. Right?
Nope, it's out the door.
So for cold calling, you may be paying, I think right now it's 15 cents a record, is kind of if I remember correctly, 15 or 18 cents a record. And now you've purchased that phone number, and you have that phone number for life. You can contact that person. There's certain rules and regulations against contacting people, so consult with your state and your attorney. But you've got that phone number now. You've got that data, and you can use it to contact people to buy their property and monetize those investments. And so,
absolutely.
So it sounds like American Tracers is a great product. Is there? How does it compare in pricing compared to some of these other services out there, compared to what kind of data they offer, but then also just in terms of ease of use and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So there's probably two or three data sources that real estate investors can get access to. But this is what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to go through a credentialing portion where they're going to have to fill out these forms and get approved. Then they're going to have to set up a home inspection service to make sure that you have a private office and that you have a lock on your door, right? All these different nuances you have to jump through. What American Tracers offers is our clients can literally sign up and start skip tracing a couple of minutes later.
Either a single search or a batch search 24 hours later.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You don't have to, maybe some of the other providers out there is TLO or LexisNexis or whatever, and they require this extensive process of getting access to this data. Is that correct?
That's correct. And a lot of people, I mean, you brought up TLO, it's extremely hard right now for somebody that's doing strictly real estate investing to get access to TLO, just because of the industry they're in. They consider it to be, just guerrilla marketing and just contacting all these people. And so they're probably not going to want to give you access. You're going to have to kind of, word it maybe a little bit different, but, yeah, it's really difficult to get access to all of these databases. And what American Tracers has made it easy to do is for us to, bring that service to the real estate investor community at a very fair and reasonable price. And there's nobody else that can beat our data out there. So it's the top skip tracing company in the country.
Well, Corey, I really appreciate your time. You've been a great asset today for us, and you're a great friend of mine, and I appreciate your time. And American Tracers is really for the everyday investor who is wanting to profit off real estate, and they're wanting very competitive prices and that single skip trace service as well, offering that edge of getting in front of that investor before anyone else does, because that's the name of the game. The quickest, the best negotiator, the best deal maker, getting in front of those people is the best and fastest way to do that. And so having the best data, having the quickest access to that data is the best way to do it. So Corey, we appreciate your time and appreciate you being on here. This is the American Tracers podcast, and we appreciate you guys being here. Hope you have a happy investing journey, and see you next time.